I'm speaking to men out there that may be at a crossroads within their lives. And I'm speaking to that human part of men that society um, that society condemns, while at the same time asking, where is that human, vulnerable part of a man? I'm a human, I'm a man, and I am vulnerable sometimes, like other men. And I have suffered the wrath of being vulnerable in the presence of our society. I want love. I want a woman to love me because she enjoys my company, because she enjoys me as a human being, and the other perks that I bring, whether they're financial or physical, are secondary. That's what I want. That's what all human beings say they want. Once I discovered how it really was and how it really is, it changed my idea of what I put into the idea of love. The majority of men who love do so assuming that women love the same way. And this is the biggest trap that a man can allow himself to be in when it comes to the opposite sex, is assuming that because you feel a certain way and you experience the endorphins of love the same way that women do. They don't. One of the hardest realities for me to face as a man was understanding that women loved quite differently than men. And once I figured out that women love differently than men, I had to get over what some people call red pill rage, red pill isolation. It was almost like knowing life to be one way on Monday and then waking up on Tuesday and the entire thing changes. Men now have to decide whether they want to be dinosaurs or whether they want to be mammals. Dinosaurs could not adapt to climate change when the world changed. As the temperatures turned colder, reptiles died. That's one theory anyway. As mammals were developing, they had the ability to adapt with the changing times. Man, I'm not saying that I want it like this, but this is how it is. And the first rule of survival within this landscape, after you have gone through your red pill isolation and after you've gone through red pill rage, is acceptance and compartmentalization. Acceptance and compartmentalization will be your unwavering allies through the storm. I no longer look at monogamy and human interaction between men and women the same. I have women who are good friends of mine, but they are friends of mine with a certain understanding that they are not like me as a man. And to an extent, this is what women were wanting. They wanted men to understand that women were from Venus and men were from Mars. Now, what does that look like as far as the basic treatment of one another? The platonic friends that I have are compartmentalized as well. They serve a purpose. We're in a society of purpose servers and those that get served. And because of this, you have to decide which role is tactically advantageous for you. There was a time when I was with a woman that wanted me to be her all, everything. And the moment that I couldn't be, she was done with me. And it was shocking to me because I had never thought about whether she was my all and everything. I simply loved her. And this illustrates a fundamental difference between the love of men and women. Men compartmentalize, and while it isn't right, a man can love his wife through and through but fuck another woman. Is it right? Absolutely not, if you subscribe to a monogamous way of governing yourself in a relationship. When women disconnect from a man, it's a disconnection. The love changes, the kind of love changes. And the moment that a man isn't able to do for them emotionally, economically, or laboriously, they're not even conscious of it, but their perception of that man changes. This isn't their fault. But having an understanding of it helps you to figure out whether you want to love or understand a woman. I didn't understand that whole idea to begin with. My idealized thoughts were, why can't I understand and love a woman at the same time? Answer is very simple. Once you understand female nature, it's very hard to love them in the same way. It's very hard to love them and not compartmentalize them for later use. And this sounds very scummish. But if you think about it, women have subscribed to that way of thinking for a very long time. And society accepts it. We make songs about it. You know, I think the earliest one that I heard is Scrubs by TLC, that girl group that made so much noise back in the 90s. And it was basically, no, I don't want no scrub. And she was not, in one verse, she was not interested in the guy sitting in the passenger seat of the car. Her ideas would have changed if she had known the guy in the passenger seat was being chauffeured and he was a millionaire. The material parts of a man and his usefulness are what are most appealing to a woman. A woman who tells me, and you know, the thing is men break their necks to not look and be average. If we told the truth, you would get the true idea of what a woman is. If you said, I have nothing, but I have a wonderful personality, I can be your confidant, and I can be the best friend you've ever had. I just ask you to reciprocate that. There's a good chance that you will be friend-zoned, which, you know, it's neither here nor there. But you will be friend-zoned, and you will hear this woman talk to you about the guy who can't do those things, but he still has access to her sexually. You will hear about how he's a jerk. He's still fucking her. You will hear about he's emotionally unavailable, yet he's still fucking her. You will hear about how he never has anything as far as time, as far as patience, yet he's still fucking her. Whereas you offered your services and time and patience and listening. And the truth of the matter is that she doesn't value that. She values something else within that man, which is why she puts up with the lesser of evils that he presents in her mind. This is the very reason I compartmentalize. I found my life worked best when I had a woman for different things, with an understanding. I'm not saying that people should cheat, but I'm saying that compartmentalization in male-female interactions will simplify a man's life. There was a person that I went to the movies with. On a regular basis, I enjoyed independent film. At times I paid. I wasn't paying to be chivalrous. I was paying because I wanted the company of someone who was not a man at that particular time to go see a movie. I had a woman that I would reveal my deepest, darkest secrets to, not expecting sex. But there were lies that I needed to hear from her. I needed to know that it wasn't my fault hear that it wasn't my fault, even when I knew it was. I needed somebody on my team. This was usually done over dinner paid for by me. Again, she was there for a reason that had nothing to do with my inner turmoil. It's a mutual parasitism. She also knew that she was Thursday, not Wednesday or Tuesday. She knew her day of the week. There was one that I was physical with, and we didn't talk about movies, go to the movies. I didn't empty my soul to her. And the moment that line was overstepped, doors were shown. There was the muse. The muse I never touched physically. The muse inspired me. Her story had to end right then and there. Otherwise, it would have been reduced to the same low expectations and low outcomes that one has when a relationship runs its course. I needed that to stay new. So here I am. I've become a man who's compartmentalized the idea of love. There was even one to simulate love with. But there was always a give and take. And when those lines were crossed and those compartments were overflowing, they were emptied. This sounds selfish, but in today's society, if you're going to survive it, you have to take in consideration what you're working with. Many women want 120% real effort from a man. Real effort. For love that is anything but real. Not real in the sense that a man understands, and it's quite real for a woman. Material love and the hypergamous nature of it is very real to them. And it's very true. It's not a lie, because the fakeness of it is very real. You can bank on that. When I got away from compartmentalization of my life, it fell apart. It fell apart, and I had to rebuild. Once I got back to where I was at, I found order again, and I want to give men this order. Again, as I said in the beginning of this podcast, that compartmentalization will help you to survive. You will have to reassess your ideas of romance. I've completely cut out ideas of romance. Anytime that I want to experience something genuine, as far as seeing a sunrise, going someplace beautiful, I choose to do that alone, because I am in full control of truth at that particular moment. I choose not to spend my company with a beautiful woman watching a beautiful sunset, hoping she's connecting to it the same way, all while she's thinking, where are we going to dinner? I choose to not do that. In the next podcast, I'm probably going to talk about recognizing the symptoms of having an out-of-control life, one that you might think currently is in control. Being numb to the problem. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I hope that you find interest in continuing to follow. Take care.